we need to. All right, so unmute yourselves, Tasha and Pam. So,
Hey.
Shenomenal Women, book that dropped today. Visionary author with us, Tasha Champion. Tell us about the book. Give us a little background of how you came with this. This is an awesome title. Kind of took the word phenomenal and changed it. I don't want to steal your thunder. You tell me, how did you come with this? How did you come up with this title for this book for Shenomenal Women?
So when I did my very first event in January of 2017, which Bianca was one of my speakers, after the event, a friend of mine had posted, you guys were all phenomenal. And then she said, no, y'all were she-nominal. And that word just really grabbed my spirit and it stuck with me. And I never knew that God was going to, 3 years later, bring this back to me for a title of a book. But sitting at my desk on April 29th of 2020, I felt God tell me, you are going to write a book called Shenomenal Women. I was like, who writing a book? What are you talking? And I felt it again in my spirit. And it's like God grabbed my hand and was like, you're doing this. And not only did he put it in my spirit, but he had already surrounded me with the women that were going to be a part of this project long before I ever knew it. And that's how the book was born. I knew that I wanted to do something where we brought women together to share their stories, because what I'm finding is you can have a beautiful circle of friends, you can have your best friends, and sometimes you're sitting next to a woman and you don't even know what she's really been through,
Mm.
and you yourself may not have been through something. And because we're taught be strong, hold your head up, that we find it weak to talk about something that we've been through. And sometimes just letting somebody know you've been through something gives them permission to feel safe enough to express themselves. And I want women to know, no matter what you've been through, one of us may have been there. And even if we haven't, maybe we have given you some tools to take that first step to getting past where you are. And that's what it's about.
Wow. Wow. So okay, so that's a lot. That's a lot to swallow right there. That's a lot. That's amazing. So before we get into the other co-authors, so She Nominal Woman, that is amazing. Do you feel that you reached your goal, the vision that you set out, that I don't know if it was God given, spirit led, maybe experience led. Do you feel that you met that goal? Are you satisfied with the finished product? I guess that's what I'm asking.
If I could say surpassed, superseded, exceeded, like all of that wouldn't even be enough
Okay.
to describe the level of gratitude, humbleness, spirit-filled blessing that I have been given by with not only my 22 Shenomenal co-authors, but the response we've received thus far, the support that we have received, the support that we gave one another. When we talk about especially Black women being together, people have this idea that we can't come together without it being a cat fight or without it being catty, especially with what we see on TV with reality television, that Black women always got to fight over something. You're talking about 23 women, no egos, no attitude, no bouginess. You're talking about 23 women that loved on one another, that pushed one another, that supported each other's tears, supported each other's efforts. Like, it was a beautiful experience from beginning to end. And managing this project, these 22 phenomenally beautiful women made my job seamless.
Wow. Wow. So let's get into that. Let's talk to the two of the other 22, right? Because as you being the visionary author, so then there was 22 other co-authors that
Mhm.
shared their stories and gave their she nominalness, I guess that's we're
Yeah.
going to use the word, right? They
That
gave
works.
us and shared their she nominalness with us all, which I think is such amazing for the women's movement and so much things that women are doing. And we'll get into that later. But we have with us today And this is really proud for me because this is my aunt and also my friend and also church member. And this is just my gal. Fellow Scorpio, our own Mrs. Pamela Lathan. How are you doing today?
I'm riding the cloud. I'm on
How do you
cloud nine.
how do you feel today? So this is your first one. How do you feel? How what's the emotions that you're going as you see the book and you're holding it, and you're looking at it with your name? What are some of the things you're going through?
Um, you know, since we got the message last night that we would be able to share the link, for the ebook, I jumped on it right away last night and sent my notices out and postings out. And I got a phone call. I looked at the phone. I said, "Uh-oh, it's Tasha. Oh, I did something wrong." She said, "Auntie, please take that down. We're not ready to post that yet." Oh, damn. I had jumped the gun. I was already out there, boy. I was tagging people and just setting it up. So, and then not long after that, I got a call from B, and I'm like, "Oh God, you called to tell me the same thing." B was like, "No, Auntie, I don't know what you're talking about." So it's just been phenomenal since last night when I knew that this was going to be out today and what we were embarking upon today, and the message that we had to get out and let as many people know that, hey, Shenomenal Woman is out there. So we need your support. Get that ebook so that we can get those numbers up. And when I downloaded mine today, after I got to read, I got through five of the first five authors, and B is number two. So I got to see her story, even though I knew of her story because we exchanged stories as we were reading each other's and helping each other out. But it was still some things that I may have missed out on that I needed refresh. But to hear the stories of the ladies that I have yet to meet, I've only met five of the 22 women, you
Okay.
know, and all of the stories that I've heard so far are just phenomenal.
Wow.
And there's stories that we're sharing to help other women, to let them know that no matter what you've gone through, no matter what you go through, that it's okay. You can come out on top. So it's just great knowing that there's others out there that share other situations. It may not be your particular situation, but everyone is going through something or has gone through something.
And I wanna go back just a second, and that's wow, that's just amazing, and that's exactly what we want to hear, what we want to know about the emotions and the feelings of when you write and you kind of put yourself out there, because this is what all of you beautiful ladies have done, have put yourself out there, made yourself vulnerable as you open up. So I'm sure there are people who have their opinions and their when as they read, and we're not gonna tell too much of the content because we want people to really go out and to purchase and to really read it. And then I'm sure, as I know, Tasha, feedback. I know feedback is going to be really instrumental. So we really want you to give us feedback, give the ladies feedback on what they're sharing in their stories. So I want to just go back for a minute. So Tasha Champion is also, she's not author, also she's an author, she's a mother, she's a daughter. She wears like many, many, many hats, right? So she's as all of these women do, many hats. You just doing a lot of different things, but she also has her own business, her own brand, and I just want to make sure that I put that out there and talk about that as champion empowerment. Right? Did I say that right?
Absolutely.
Empowerment. I
Yeah.
love that. Love that. Love that.
Yeah.
So she has that. Pam, can you tell us what's your business? Give us that so we can have that so we can let the people know what you do, please.
Unc and I, or Joseph and I, my husband, we started a JPL Consultants. It's a consulting firm, and incorporated into that is my HR business side of the business because I'm an HR professional. And with Joseph, part of it, his ministry and bereavement and all those type of services, we're combining them together. His online learning experience, his course development, all of that's going to be training and development. We're looking to do all of that. So the business is just getting started. We're just getting it incorporated, but look out for JPL Consultants. And I have, I'm doing my HR consultant. I have a client that's in Michigan currently, and I'm
Okay.
working on a second client as of now. So yeah.
Awesome, 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 awesome. Excellent. Thank you, ladies, so much. I'm kind of juggling and doing two different things here because I'm also making sure that we get out to our Facebook followers that are on today. And I'm making sure that I tag some people. There we go. Hopefully you got that. All right. And last but definitely not least, my beautiful wife is on. She is also one of the co-authors, also one of the co-founders of TheCoreofU, and we come to you every Friday, bringing our message. But tonight, this is pretty cool because I get to interview her. And as much as I know about her and her story and the things that she's gone through, this is amazing, and this is an awesome opportunity as we get to share. So, Mrs. Bianca Page, how are you feeling? What were your emotions? How are you feeling as as you put as they say, put the pen to paper and made yourself vulnerable so people can hear your story.
Grateful, just grateful. And another thing I've been saying is praise during a pandemic, right?
Mhm.
First of
Right.
all, I have to take my hat off to the Shenomenal women that are on here with me. When cousin and visionary author Tasha brought this to me, I'm always looking at things of like timing, and I have a conservative lens, and I was like, we're in a pandemic, and how are we gonna do this? But when anyone in my circle says spirit said or God told me or whatever, then my ears perk up and my spirit listens.
Mm.
And I am just grateful to be in the company of women who will push you to that next level. So if anyone who is listening has somebody in your life who will push you, pull you, help you, invite you to the next level, then you have something to be grateful for. This was something on my live list, like non-academic writing from the spirit, that I wanted to do. And I didn't know that it would come during a time where we were all dealing with so much, but I'm so thankful that she invited me into this space so I can say yes to me first and then to sharing. And it was very, as I started I like to write to music, and as I started pouring it all out, it felt therapeutic, cathartic, healing, to just let it out. I'm a natural journaler. I'm a natural person who's most of my young adult to very up to today. I journal or get into letting my expressions out on paper. But this was more for me than anybody else. You know, when someone asks you something or they give you a gift, and really you give a gift to somebody, but you end up the recipient. So I might have done the writing, but it was actually a gift back to me. So I'll leave it there and leave space for others. So thank you, cousin Tasha. Thank you, honey, for interviewing us, and thank you, Auntie. It's just, and I have actually had the opportunity to read most of the stories. I've been reading them, and please, if you are a student in life and you are looking to up level, there is something for everybody. And there's some things that I said, oh my God, I don't want to have to need this, but I know I am one day.
Mm.
So I just was like, thank you. I was thankful on so many levels for a vision, tools, just knowing what was in this book that could help push me through the next moment, but also motivate me in the current moment.
Nice, nice. So, hold up 1 second. Yeah. Okay. Back to it. Here we go. So one of the things that I wanted to talk with you ladies about in this crazy world that we live in, knowing you all, pretty personal, and the things that we've dealt with and that we've seen and that we've watched on social media. Um, for Black and brown people, there was a time in life that we were not allowed to write, they're not allowed to read, not allowed to do, a lot of what we're doing right now. Most of everything that we're doing right now, there was a time that we were not allowed to do any of this. How do you feel about um, the movement of our race and Black and brown people right now? And I'll get to the women part of it, because I think that's an additional part. I don't want to leave that out. I just want to talk about just us as a people right now. How do you feel? And with writing the book and the stories that you told, do you feel that it will add to and add value to, and if so, in what ways? So we'll start with you, Miss Tasha. How do you feel? What's your thoughts on that?
Um, I think that it's such a time of celebration, if only for that piece of it.
Mm.
You know, my most seasoned, as I like to call her, my most seasoned co-author, she was part of the civil rights movement.
Mm.
And, you know, she went to a historically Black college. And so she experienced some of the very things that we have naturally today that they were fighting for back then. So
Okay.
just for her to be a part of it, for me, is the historical piece of this book. And we always have to, I think, you know, quiet our spirits and pay an homage to the women before us, the men before us, the people before us that led us here, those that fought for our abilities to learn how to read, those that fought for our abilities to learn to write and to be students of not only the world, but just learning the things that we needed to have in our life. And here it is, like, we take for granted being able to write a book. We take for granted being able to read a book. And just in what you said, like, it's an opportunity for us to just really take that moment and be in a place of gratitude. Like, we get to do this,
Mm.
and we don't have anybody that can stop us. The only person that can stop you is you,
Wow.
because our those that before us, our grandparents, our great grandparents, they fought for us to be here, and we
Right,
get to honor that.
right.
So that's okay. So that's great. I love what you said there. So in the book, can you give us, and I know women don't normally like to say this, so I'm breaking the code here. Hopefully, it's you know that it's out of respect. What's the age range? What's the age range? Do you know the age range of the women that wrote in the book, the authors?
I do. The youngest, I believe, is 29,
Okay.
late 20s, and the most seasoned is 75.
Wow. So we have some generations, some wow, that's gonna be amazing. That's awesome.
And
Um
what's really beautiful is our youngest co-author and our most seasoned co-authors had some similar paths. Like, in
mm,
their chapters, you see some similarities, but the beauty of it is seeing because of the age difference, how different it was, how different those similarities actually are.
interesting. Wow. Okay. Okay. I love it. Love it. Same question to you, Pam. Same question to you. How do you feel right now with where we are as Black and brown people in the world, and with writing this book? What value do you feel that you add to society with your words?
You know, there's so much going on in our country, so much we have overcome, and so much we have yet to overcome. Um, as an individual, my journey has been relatively smooth. I can say, and I'm very thankful for that. Yeah, there's been some bumps and bruises and some ups and downs and some situations, but when you hear other stories of things that people had to go through, it really saddens you, but it makes you thankful,
Mm,
because of where you've come from and what your tasks have been thus far. You know, being able to read and write is a privilege now. I
mm,
mean, you know what I'm saying?
right.
Or was a privilege then, but it's an automatic now. It's something that should be automatic now.
Right.
We should be able to read and write. We should be able to produce books. We should be able to, um, um, run companies. and big Fortune 500 companies. We should, because we have educated ourselves, and we have to continue on to educate ourselves and let our race know that we have to get this education. We have to equip ourselves in order to make ourselves look better to the world and be better to the world and be better to ourselves. So I say to the younger generation, you think that it's cool what you're going through now, and mama taking care of you, and you on your phone, you got your phone at 12 years old or whatever the case is, and you got this and you got that. But when it's time to step out there on your own and be able to do things on your own, can you? And will you? And will you let society break you down and tell you that you can't? Because that's not a word that I use. So,
Awesome.
and I'm very thankful for the opportunity to share my story. Coming newly to California, I needed to find my niche and I needed to begin to network. And this came up, and Tasha was reaching out to me before I even knew that she was reaching out to me or wanted me to be a part of this. And I'm very thankful. And then once I agreed to it, I'm like, this is going to be awesome. And then with my niece, Bianca, together, and learning Tasha, my new niece, it's just been a great ride, and all of the other co-authors that I'm learning to love as well. So it's great.
Awesome. B,
Oh
same
my
question.
goodness. Well, first off, literacy is still a huge issue. I have a cousin, Robin Wilson, who in Michigan is a literacy advocate. So we can't take for granted that there are a lot of adults and children who are not at their proper age of literacy. So standing on the shoulders, on the heels of Black History Month, in the midst of Women's History Month, and I had the opportunity as part of a co-chair of the African American professionals at my workplace to go through a PBS series of African American history, 6 episodes. And you guys are so right. I echo everything. Like, I don't want to take anything for granted. We have actually made a mark in history doing this book. Long after we're gone, there will be on record that 23 women overcame something and first had to be here, had to get here, had to stay here to do it. And to be a part of that, I am simply humbled and silenced in my spirit. And then just going back to that same word, grateful. So no, I don't want to take it for granted. And I know we're standing on a lot of shoulders. It was not that long ago. I mean, we are losing a lot of our civil rights leaders. We just lost John Lewis.
Right.
It was a lifetime ago. And in the midst of so much I'm gonna say backlash, we saw the reversal of a lot of voting rights right now. Like, we can't fall asleep. We got to stay woke. So I am really thankful that I was invited into this space to turn pain into purpose and to put something on record during a time when so many people need it. So many people need light right now, and they need a reason to say, I can keep going. There's something on the other side of this. So I'm really grateful. I'm overwhelmed to be a part of something left on record beyond my lifetime, just period, whatever that means.
This is really awesome, and I think it's very important, and I think the greatest thing about all of this is to hear all of you, your awareness, your consciousness of who you are first and foremost, because that's the most important thing first and foremost, right? Of who you are as individuals, but then the impact that you can have by doing things like this on society, on other women, on Black and brown people, other races, just the things that you can do by writing these kinds of books and telling your story. And I think one of the greatest abilities that God has given us, is the ability to overcome, and maybe not so much sometimes overcome, because do we ever really overcome it? But I mean, our ability to at least to be able to deal, and to go through something, and to still be able to not completely lose who I am as an individual, as a person. Some of it may get a little mixed up in in the wash, but we're able to find pieces of ourselves, fragments of ourselves, pull it back in and say, okay, this is who I am. This is the essence of me. Let me walk, from this moment on, whatever it is that happened, however devastating it may have been, let me walk from that moment forward as this person. And then the beauty is that you have the ability to tell your story, to share those fragments of who you are now with other people, with other women, with other men, with young women, which I think is so amazing, because then when they come across those paths and these situations and circumstances down the road, we hopefully that they will learn from either your mistakes or just learn from the lessons that you've learned. So thank you, ladies, for sharing with us today. And this is just beautiful. So then we talked about us as a race and as a color of people. So now as a gender, being women and being yourselves, how do you feel? I mean, I think the title says so much and is so empowering for women, Shenomenal Women, right? So I will begin with you, Miss Tasha. How do you feel about being a woman being able to tell this story, and what is your hope for other women when they read this?
So, how do I feel first as a woman telling my story? First, I have to say that I feel honored. I feel blessed because there were times that, I'm not going to say that I ever was suicidal, but I can understand how people get to that point. And I will say that there were times where I felt like giving up might be easier,
Okay.
And so to stand here today and say powerfully, I walked through it and I mean, I cried enough tears that we could all swim in right now. But I had to understand that every tear I cried watered a seed that I didn't even know God had planted in me.
Mm.
And as I continued to cry and he continued to work on me, the first thing I did was trust, because I disobeyed God once when I stood at the altar, and I knew that I would never do that again. And so as God would just put things in me, I'm like, okay, what's next, God? You're going to give it to me. And he slowly pulled me from what I felt was such a dark place and showed me that there was still light inside of me. So to be a woman that I can honor the hurt that I experienced, because it cultivated this Tasha, it cultivated this woman. And
Mm.
so that's what's so amazing. And I stand on living in your truth as a woman. It doesn't matter what you've been through. If you can honor and live in your truth, if you can say, I played a part in how I got here, and I have to play a bigger part in moving past it and pushing through it. Like, the woman in you can do that. We
Okay.
give birth. So there's nothing else in this world that we cannot do.
Mm.
Well,
And so we stand in our phenomenalness.
all right, all right. And so for Mrs. Pam, then I will ask you sort of a different question. Do you feel that were there any lessons that you learned without giving all of the content of what you wrote? Do you feel that there are any lessons that you learned about yourself while you were writing? And then have you grown since that moment?
Oh wow, Kenneth, I was ready to answer Tasha's question, but it was a great experience. It helped me deep dive into myself and those innermost feelings that I've had, and some that I've shared, and a lot that I haven't shared, and there's still a lot more to share, because we were limited in the number of words that we could produce in the book. So it's still a lot of story to me, but I'm thankful for the shoulders that I stand on, to piggyback off of the question that Tasha answered. But the shoulders that I stand on are very strong women, God-fearing women. And I'm thankful to carry on that characteristic that was embedded in me, or that I grew up knowing and realizing through my mom and through her mom, and my great grandmother and my aunts and all, and the strong women that have come before me. So I'm very thankful. So I wasn't ashamed of anything that I shared, because my mom was at the house when we were going through the proofreading process, and I let her proofread it. And I sat there and I sat across from her as she read it. And she, some things she knew, and I knew she knew, and some things I didn't know she know, but she knew,
Mm.
and some things that she didn't. So as she sat there, she got done. She's like, okay. So I knew that if I can present it to her and she was all right with it, it had to be all right with everyone else, and I felt comfortable with sharing. And so I wasn't ashamed to share, because I'm not ashamed to, look at where I've come from, because I'm thankful for where I come from, and it's created the person that I am today, and help pave the way for me to, move forward in the life that I'm living today. So it's been a great ride.
Awesome, awesome. So,
Yes.
Mrs. Bianca, I will ask you this, a little different question. I asked them about their growth and the things that they've learned about themselves. So my question for you would be this: Is there anything that you wish you would have put in the book that you didn't? Anything left out that you wish that you would have put in? And Yeah, how about that? Is there anything left that you wish? Any regrets with your writing? Let's go there.
No, actually, we were given the chapter to do it, and I was able to tell in that chapter what needed to be told, but it was a muse to let me know there's more to say. So there's still nothing that can or was left unsaid. And if anything continues to rise up, I know you and I have something we're working on. I think it's just like a spark to say, keep going, keep going, don't stop. There's more to say. And I think a lot of people have a book in them. And
Mm.
if you didn't before 2020, you certainly do now.
And my follow up question to you then would be with obviously, as I keep repeating, without giving out all of your content, if you had to summarize you and in what you're writing, let me say it this way: together we have a beautiful 6 year old daughter. If you had to leave a summary for her, to hope of less of a life lesson that she could hopefully learn to grow by, what would that be based on what you wrote?
Um, Everything you need, you already have, and what you will encounter in life, you have the tools to overcome, but don't skip past the lesson. There's a tendency to try to numb the hurt, to try to move past it. You actually have to process it, go through it, and then you're going to come out the best version of yourself. So some gifts come wrapped in sandpaper, baby girl, but even those gifts are meant for your good. So that's what I would tell my daughter. Like, nothing is meant for your bad. It reminds me of Romans 8:28. All things work together for good. So um, that's where I'll stop it.
Awesome. I'll ask that same question to you, Pam. Your legacy when you leave here, if God forbid, if this was it, what would you want people to know? And we know there's so much more that you have, but based on what you wrote, what would be your summary, your thesis of who you are and how you expressed yourself in this book? What would it be?
Well, I think I like to bring up across the fact that, I I keep moving,
Okay.
irregardless of the circumstance, irregardless of the situation. It helps me to move forward. Once I get over that hurdle and I get past that moment, I can look back and see the growth that I've made, in my future strides. So, I'm just being very thankful as each hurdle that I run across, and I can't run anymore, but in my mind, I'm running across these hurdles and these situations. And when I get to the other side, I'm like, ooh, all right, I made it through. So I know I can get this far, and I can go even further, because if I made it through this one, behind me, you know, I can capture and endure the one that's in front of me, and it gives me the strength to continue on. So at least, you know, my legacy will be that, well, she never stopped trying. She was always trying. She never gave up. She never let nothing stop her. She continued on and moved in her glory. So that is part of my legacy that I would like to have carried on.
Awesome. And the same question for you, Tasha. I know you have your beautiful children, and so what would your legacy be with it with this book? And I know this is not your first time that you've written, but you know, with this one, with this book here, Shenomenal Women, what would you like for to be said, and what would you like for your legacy to be with what you wrote?
And this one's gonna make me a little bit more emotional, Ken. You didn't have to do this to me. Um, I would probably have to say that first and foremost, I would always want my kids to know that even when I felt like I failed them, I was still being pushed because of them.
Okay.
And the strength that they gave me is how Shenomenal Women came to be.
Okay.
The strength that I had to continue to find within myself, the strength that God continued to reveal to me, how He allowed me to understand who I was and not to be ashamed of who I was. I get to really show my children that giving up is not an option,
Mm.
that standing in my faith was the absolute best thing that I could ever do. Because as people came and went, people that I thought would be here forever, family and friends, faith is the one thing that has remained consistent. It's the one thing that has not and will not fail me. It's the one thing that I can turn to even when I can't see what's happening. And so to stand in my faith, no matter what is going on, I pray that I can always instill and leave that in my children.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. I want to take this moment to first of all thank you, three ladies, for sharing this with us today and for sharing your book, for sharing your story. I applaud you all. I celebrate you all for being vulnerable in this time and in this space and in this place. Just being vulnerable and sharing your stories and your shortcomings and your successes and whatever all of the in between things, and for overcoming and some of the things we may not have overcome yet, right? We might still be dealing with, but I thank you all for sharing that with us. I would like to share with our audience today the website and everything so that people can see. So let me bring that up for us. Shenomenal Women. The release date is today, March 30th, 2021. Shenomenal Women. Website is shenomenal.com. I can say that all day long. Shenomenal.com. I love that. Right? So that's going to be the release date. I know we had sort of a pre-release today for everything for an hour to try to get it out, become the bestseller and all of that. But each of these lovely women, along with the other 22, or I'm sorry, the other 19 women will be sharing their stories as well. I mean, they have their stories in as well. You'll be able to purchase from each of them. And I'm sure that their information, if you go on the website, it's all on there. Tasha, let people know where they would go and as they go on and where they would click on to get to the book, and if they want to see the actual authors and all of that, let us know what we would see when we go on.
Absolutely. So you can go to shenomenal.com and either right there on the front page in the upper left, you can click the pre-order link. It will take you to our Meet the Authors page, or in the upper right, it says Meet the Authors. You can click there. And when you do, it gives you all of our authors. You can read about them. You can choose which author you want to purchase the book from. So if you know Bianca, you can go there and purchase it from her. If you know one of the other authors, you can do that as well. You can learn about the authors. And then I'll also be posting the different podcasts and interviews. So you really have the opportunity to get to know each author more and more through everything that we've been through. We talk about our process in writing the book. We talk about what people may be surprised to learn. So it's a great opportunity to go to the website and learn all of that. And I have to say, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you to everybody who went to Amazon today to purchase the ebook, because we were number one new release in one of the categories. Someone just texted me, one of the other co-authors text me, and in another category, we're like number 2 and we're number 3. So we still have time to hit another number 1 spot, but we are officially best-selling authors. Our book is a bestseller as of today. I could not be more honored, more pleased. Thank you, everybody, for the support. Please make sure you guys actually read the chapters. Mother's Day is coming up. Get the book for the Shenomenal woman that's in your life. And let's just all find more ways to heal and grow through our transparency. So thank you, my co-authors. Thank you to all of our fans.
Amen.
So I would end it with this, and I thank you, ladies, for taking this time out, for coming in and allowing little old me to interview you all. This was amazing. This is the first time I've ever done something like this, so this has been great. This has been awesome. I've really been
Great job, nephew. You did a great job.
Thank you. I've really been enjoying my time with Bianca as she was going on this journey. There are some new things that I learned about her that I didn't know, which is always a plus, because every day we learn new things about each other anyway. Heck, every day sometimes we learn things about ourselves that we didn't know based on the circumstances that we go in. So I would ask you 3 ladies to leave us with something. I know you already said what you wanted them to know from the book, but I would ask, what for you 3 ladies, what is your mantra? The something that you live by that you would like to share with the audience today. Maybe someone can write it down. Maybe there's a young lady, maybe there's a young man, maybe there's anyone that's going through something right now that you can give them maybe just a short snippet of your mantra that you go through, or that how you deal with spiritually or consciously, that allows you to overcome or to get through or to at least maintain, right, some sense of normalcy as you go through the ups and downs and the ebbs and flows of life. So I'll start with B. What is your mantra for life, if you don't mind me asking? Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute.
No ceiling, no ceiling. A long time ago, God gave that to me. I saved it. I held on to the domain. There is no limit to what you can do. And there are women like Kamala Harris breaking all the glass ceilings. And there is just no limit to what anybody listening to this under the sound of my voice can do. So you came, you did, you will. If you can see it, you can be it. If you can think it, you can do it.
That's right.
Awesome. Pam, your mantra?
I share the same philosophy. Never let no one tell you that you can't do it.
Okay.
Never let no one tell you no.
Aw-
Always tell yourself yes.
Awesome. Awesome. And Tasha, your mantra?
Um, Whatever you go through, turn to faith, turn to God or whatever your higher power is, because what you go through is never for you. It's always going to be so that you can help someone else get through it. So don't be afraid of your pain. Don't be afraid of the hurt, because as Bianca said earlier, there's purpose that is born from that pain. So everything that you're going through, you have to trust the process. And if you can just hold on to your faith and connect with God, you will get through it.
Mm.
Awesome. 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 Shenomenal Women. Go to shenomenal.com. Please make sure that you get the book. Make sure you support these beautiful young ladies. There's a range of age that they have, so their experiences are different. Um, Different women coming from different walks of life, different areas, different states, different upbringings.
Mhm.
But I think the one thing that they all shared in common, which, as the title says, is that they phenomenally overcame it. They were able to maintain, and they're still doing a beautiful job. We will close out today. I thank you, ladies, for this, and I want you all to stay on with me for just a second as we close out on Facebook and all of that good stuff. But always, as always, please follow us at the Core of You, CORE of the letter U, the community of restoration and enlightenment. We thank you, we thank you, we thank you for being with us today, this beautiful and wonderful Friday evening. And as always, we leave you with hoping that you have peace in your hearts and in your homes.
All right.
Peace.